A huge moo to the herd and welcome. I hope you're all doing well. So today I'm going to be starting a new series, and this one differs from the games I usually do on my channel. So a bit of history. Way back in the murky past of time, I started playing World of Warcraft on its release day in Europe, and it has given me many years of enjoyment. However, recently I found myself spending more and more time away from the game. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm just not getting the same level of enjoyment I once did. A lot of people have said many positive things about Final Fantasy XIV, so I thought I would give it a try and see if it's enough for me to retire my World of Warcraft account. So this series is going to be a journal of my experiences playing Final Fantasy. It's not going to be a review of the game or anything like that, instead it's going to be my impressions, the things I like and dislike. Now a spoiler warning. As I'm going to be playing through the game, you're going to see potential story outcomes and reveals, so please bear that in mind when you're watching, as I don't want to ruin any surprise for people. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, if you've ever wondered where I get the name Hoofy from, it was based on the fact that nearly all the characters I played in World of Warcraft were Tauren. There is something about the way they are in tune with nature that appeals to me, and that is what I'm going to focus on with my character. Now, unfortunately, there does not appear to be any cow races in Final Fantasy, so I'm going to have to make do with the Ora, as they have horns, so that's the closest I'm going to get to the superior cow race. The first thing that grabs me with the character creation is how many customized options you have. Again, going back to World of Warcraft, which really is my frame of reference when it comes to MMOs, your choices were very limited. Whereas here you can customize pretty much everything, and in lots of ways it makes you appreciate your character more. I spent around 10 minutes going through the different options, tweaking things until I got something that I was happy with, and even then I could have spent double that amount of time tweaking it further, but I really wanted to get into the game so I had to stop somewhere. You can even choose the character's date of birth and deity of choice. I'm not sure if there are any impact on the game, but I went for nature god to fit in with my nature-loving Ora. Finally, you choose your starting job class. I'm not sure what the correct terminology is, so you will probably hear me referring to it by either one. Now, I've settled on a Lancer. As my previous experience in MMOs, I found melee tends to be a bit quicker for levelling. So after watching the very impressive intro cutscene, you enter the world. Now, much like most MMOs, the opening quest is designed to get you used to controlling your character and interacting with the items around you. And having played WoW, this was all pretty much second nature to me. The one thing that did grab me though was how lovely the world looks. The greens look lush and full of life, and the detail in everything is spot on. The other thing I found brilliant is how the quests are presented. Usually you go up to an NPC, maybe read the quest text, and click on accept. However, with Final Fantasy you get this almost cutscene-like presentation showing your character speaking to the NPC. This level of immersion is something I've been looking for in a game for some time. I love to think of my character being part of the world and the choices I make having an impact on those around me. So hopefully this continues throughout the game and is not just a one-off, as it really makes you appreciate the things you are doing. The opening quests have you visit various places throughout the starter area, and one that is quite interesting is this giant crystal. This I believe is part of the travel system and has a function similar to the Hearthstone in WoW. You get the return spell, which allows you to quickly teleport to your hometown from anywhere, although it does have a 15-minute cooldown before you can use it again. You will also find smaller crystals located throughout the area, and these are travel points, allowing you to teleport to other smaller crystals and the main crystal in the town, which makes getting around the sprawling starter town quite easily. This is a great idea, as I find just constantly running around to be quite tedious sometimes. One thing I did find was that after tuning myself to all of the smaller crystals, I got a little bonus. You're informed that you've unlocked transport to the various external town gates, which is awesome as it means getting outside to do quests just became so much quicker. Although there are no crystals outside the gates themselves to get to places within the town. However, that is just me being lazy. Something that feeds into the overall immersion that you experience as a player is the way Final Fantasy does cutscenes. In other MMOs that I've played, the cutscenes can be quite impressive, but for me are rather static. You just feel like something is happening, but not necessarily something that relates to you. With Final Fantasy, that is not the case. Your character is there, smack bang in the middle of the action. Your character is there in glorious detail, taking actions within the cutscene. No random emotes to try and give the impression that you are participating, but actually doing things within the cutscene. Everything within the cutscene revolves around you and makes you feel that the story centres on you and the actions you take. Again, not sure if this continues throughout the game, but if it does, it is really going to reinforce making me feel that my character is part of the story and the world. Another thing I found really interesting is leveling your class stroke job. So with most games you select your class at the start of the game and level up. Occasionally you may find that you have a specific class quest, but there isn't really a great deal of variety. Now here your class has a whole story attached to it, complete with cutscenes. You actually get to feel that you are starting out as a total beginner and through trials and events are increasing your proficiency. One thing I really enjoyed getting involved in was professions. So I'm used to selecting the profession I want to level from a trainer, and off I go with tool equipped and harvest resource nodes. I had thought that it was going to be the same with Final Fantasy, and boy was I wrong. Once you reach level 10 on your starting class stroke job, you are given the opportunity to go and learn other jobs. I had mistakenly thought that this meant I could just go and learn my professions. What I didn't realise is the so-called professions is a class stroke job itself. Once I equipped the tool appropriate to the class, I found my gear removed and my level set to 1. Fortunately, you have the ability to automatically equip gear appropriate to the job you are doing. You get quests for the job, and as you harvest resources you gain experience which allow you to level up. Even harvesting resources is not a simple click on node and get resources. Instead you have to select what you want to harvest, and each item has a percentage chance of success based on your gear. As you level up you get new skills which can range from seeing resource nodes on the map, increasing the chance you have of harvesting a particular resource, and even the ability to enter into stealth, allowing you to avoid creatures up to 4 levels higher than you. Meaning you can focus on leveling your profession instead of worrying about fighting monsters. I have to say, despite playing WoW for many years, I'm not that great at it. And when it comes to combat, I have the skill of a slug stuck on a glacier. So I was concerned that, based on the stories I'd heard, combat was going to be a very complex affair. I know it is early levels, but I have to say I am pleasantly surprised at how intuitive combat seems. Your combos are clearly highlighted on your action bar, and I love the fact that the monsters have a visual indicator when they're going to do a special attack. This gives you time to get yourself out of the way and reduce the amount of damage you take. Even when fighting multiple monsters, the indicators overlap, so you can make sure you're out of the way for all of the monsters' attacks. I actually find myself being a lot more mobile as I fight creatures, which is the complete opposite of my usual approach of standing still and mashing buttons hoping the monster's HP runs out before mine does. So I know this is a shorter video. The truth is that I found there was actually so much to do I couldn't figure out what to include as an intro video. There are so many things that I've discovered in the brief time I've played the game. The first thing that I have discovered is choosing melee so I can level up faster was a big mistake. Not choosing melee, but the thought of leveling up faster. The fact is there is no need to level up quickly to get to the good content. There is so much to do even at the low levels that you may as well take your time and enjoy it all. I'm really looking forward to trying out different classes on the same character. As a self-confessed autoholic, it is going to be nice being able to focus on one character while still getting the opportunity to try out and level all of the classes. Group content is something that's going to be interesting. Unfortunately, WoW has a reputation for having rather toxic and uninviting players, and I'm hoping that this is not the case for Final Fantasy, as is one of the reasons I no longer do random groups in WoW. There is so much to do that I'm pretty sure that progressing the main story is going to take me a long time. Not because it's a long series of quests, because I'm going to be distracted by doing everything else around me. So if you have any advice for a total Final Fantasy newbie, then please leave it in the comments section, as I could do with all the help I can get. Until the next time, have a great day. Now, where can I find a Mal?